Hello there, this is Comphonia. In this video I'll be showing you how to model a donut, just a low poly donut. And first I'll start with my reference. Find the reference there, see? Alright, so I want to start with something plain, then just add toppings on it, just trying to get the shape. I think this will do. Yeah, this will work for me. Alright, I'll just put my reference in the scene. Alright, there we go. Since I'm using 3ds Max, it has a primitive object called torus here, and that will easily give us the shape we need. But if you're using a different application and it doesn't have that primitive, you could always use a cylinder. Something like this, just drag it up. Maybe no sides, so 16 sides, no height. Editable poly, and then just inset this edges, so just delete it or something like that. Extrude this in, and maybe bridge, and then you could go ahead and add a sub modifier, subdivision modifier, to like get that donut shape. Alright, but since I've got Max and it's awesome, I'll just use a torus primitive, get that donut shape there, and then maybe reduce this. It's more low poly, but still looks great. Reduce the segments a bit. Alright, that looks great. Convert to editable poly. Might just change the color. It's just gray here. Alright, so that's good. But it's like a perfect torus here, just circle. And you might want to use your soft selection here, and then maybe change the values so you could move the sides around a bit. See if I'm recording here. Okay. Just move the sides around a bit so it's not so perfect. Yeah, it's too much. Yeah, I think that's good. So it's just not too perfect. Alright, so that's it. Let's rename it donut, and let's get to unwrapping and texturing. So for the unwrapping, just add a UV unwrap UV modifier. Open up the UV editor. So what I want to do is kind of a top and bottom unwrapping here. So I'll just seams here, just create seams. Okay, so it's not showing up for some reason. I'll just delete this. Make sure I'm on the top level. Apply that unwrap again. Okay, now I can see the seams. Let's see all the polygons. Ooh, that doesn't look good at all. So I'll just manually unwrap this. Turn off this and just use point-to-point selection. First I'll go around the insides, like about half of it, so just go around insides, circle. Alright, right click and then go outside, just half. Alright, that's great. Just turn this off, select one polygon, expand it. Oh no, not align. One polygon and expand, and then planar map. Then Control I to select the rest, the planar map. Alright, so let's put a checker pattern on it, see what's looking like. We can see it's kind of stretching around here, so planar map is not ideal for that. I'll use the quick peel here. Okay, straighten that out, and then select this other one here. Quick peel. Alright, it kind of relaxes everything, so I'll just add a quick relax tool here. Relax, keep the boundaries, maybe 125. Start relax. So, alright, apply, and it looks good. Alright, so we're done with unwrapping. I'll just bring this. Alright, if you just want to add one single texture to it, you could just stack them on top of each other. But since I'm gonna be adding different toppings to the donut, I'll just pack custom so they're just in one layer. So I'll just quickly check, this is the top, this is the bottom. Alright, that's good. Next step is to render this UVs out so we could paint them in Photoshop. First, I like to render everything out and then render just the seams. So just render UV template here. I'll make it all just green here, so same color for everything. Render again. Alright, I'll just save this out as donut all. Donut all, like that makes sense. Donut all, save. Make sure you save the alpha channel, it's important. And then the next, we're just gonna turn off the I think it's visible edges, then render again. So it's just the seams that's showing. I'll show you why once we get into Photoshop. Just save this, save as PNG, donut seams alpha channel. Alright, we could just convert this to editable poly just to collapse that. Alright, so that's good. I'll go into Photoshop now. Or okay, donut seams, open and open with Photoshop. Alright, I'll just create a new layer. Shift F5 to fill it in. I'll just fill it white for now. Okay, and bring this down. I'll lock that layer. Alright, so we could see the seams here. Let's bring the other one in. Donut all. Just drop it on there. Okay. Alright, so I'll just turn this off for now. Alright, so we're trying to just find a way to paint just inside this region, but it's not possible until we like select everything in there. So I'll just grab my paint bucket tool here, grab a color and just fill in those insides like that. You see it just fills in perfectly. And then actually no. Okay, so once you're able to fill that in, you could just hold Control and select, then Control J to duplicate the layer. Alright. Or do we don't need to duplicate that. Yeah, we kinda do. Alright, don't duplicate it, just Control select, add a new layer, and then yeah, add a new layer, and then we'll just start painting on this layer. I'll look for a different donut reference image for painting because I kind of want it to be, the sides kind of white, something like that. So, something like this. But there's too much light on it, so it might not be a good. Let's see, let's see. Something like this would work. Let's put this out. Good. And bring it into Photoshop. Pull that out. Pull it out. Alright, so we got that. We could turn this off. Wait, okay. Then just control select this again. Make sure you're on this layer. Let's rasterize this. And first I'll start with a base layer. So I paint selection tools, that eyedropper tool, select this, and G to go back to paint bucket and just fill this in. Let's go to eyes, select this again, B, and just grab a different brush. Let's see. One of these guys would work. Just testing waters here. Eyes, just different shade. Opacity 100. I'll leave my flow at 50. Alright, I don't really like that brush. Let's see. Look. Alright. Make this bigger. Alright, I think this brush is working. Just simple strokes there. Kind of create that bun layer. And maybe find a different color. Then just add that in. You could reduce the flow or opacity or both and just strike it out. Or maybe try different brushes. I'm not quite good at painting, so just forgive me on that. Try different brushes. Alright, so that's maybe kind of the base layer. Nope. Ooh. What did I do? Okay. Yeah, so that's good for the base layer. But if you, let's go back and add the unwrap modifier here again. Open UV editor, select this polygon. So it's kind of mapped from the inside out. So like out here is where we'll paint the white parts of the donut for both sides. It's kind of out here, so this is the white parts on the UV map, so we'll just paint them on there, and insides here. All right, so go back, I just select this part here, yellowish part, brush, use it and just paint around the outsides like so. Alright, doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to be perfect at all. Just go around it. Alright, that looks good. You could add some touch up to it and maybe different layers, different brushes, just experiment with stuff. Just keep doing whatever it is you want to do. Alright, so it's just not, doesn't look like you just put colors on there for your donut. Alright, so that's good. What I'll do next is apply noise. Is it, I think it's noise. Just add noise. That's too much, so reduce that and make it Gaussian or uniform. Yeah, that's good. Just reduce it a bit so it kind of looks like a donut texture, not just colors on there. I think that's good. Monochromatic, does that matter? Not for this anyway. Okay, makes a difference. And then I'll just add a, is it render? Distort ripple, and then reduce the amount. Maybe increase it just a little bit, something like that. 69%. Okay. All right. So it kind of has that highlights. Just you kind of see the highlights, light bouncing on it, like that. All right. So we're pretty much done at this point, and what I need to do now is just create a background fill layer for this. So I'll do Control Shift I, and then I'll use, oh, wait. Let's see. Okay. Control Shift I and Shift F5. Shift F5 in, make sure you select layer. Shift F5, and we'll use content aware. Alright, you see it kind of fills that outside of the object like so. So Control D. Alright, so see it kind of fills that in. Alright, so let's go back. Just Control Alt Z, and let's go back to this tool here. I've forgotten what it's called. Quick Selection Tool, and Refine Edge. So we could use a Smart Radius. Show original here. Show radius. And we want to shift that edge negative direction. Feather a bit, smooth, and output to selection. That's good. So it just brings the edge in closer. So once we do the Shift F5, content aware, kind of, I made it worse, huh? Control Alt Z, refine edge. Let's push it negative, positive. Okay, let's just forget this. Alright, let's just forget that. Shift F5, content aware. Alright. This should work. You could use your brush tool and just fill all those in if you want. But I'll leave it at that. Alright, so I'll go ahead and collapse, flatten image, discard hidden layers, and just save it out as my donut seams. It doesn't really matter. Then I'll just bring that in here, place it, Shift F4. Alright, so it looks good. We could have done better, definitely. Could have painted it better. So to make it kind of pop, I'll just grab the material here and add a little bit of specular highlights and glossiness. Alright, so you kind of, let's turn off that unwrap. Object mode. So you kind of see it, it really does look nice. Yeah, it's really great. Except for the few issues we have, that's just fixing it in Photoshop. All this, just paint all these areas white out, and it's gonna fix the sides real quick. Alright, but let's just go ahead. I'm pretty sure you'd be able to do that. Let's go ahead and add, let's add sprinkles on here. Donuts texture. Yeah, so we're just trying to get this sprinkles seamless. This has watermarks on it. I'm trying to see something without watermarks. View more. Okay, I think this will work. Alright, so I'll just put that out and then go back into Photoshop. I'll kind of undo this to go back, but it's not really ruining anything. Alright, so okay, so I'll just turn this seams back on so I could see what I'm doing. I'll go back to my line tool, or is it line tool, custom shape tool here, and choose a custom shape, and it's just this blob here, and then just drag it out. Alright, V to move it into place. Go back to the custom shape tool and maybe zoom in a bit here, and then I'll use a direct selection tool so I could select each individual point here and just drag it out. Alright, like so. Just drag it out and turn the handles, make it look nice or not. Alright, so just moving it around. Body, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just trying to create that topping on there. Just turn the handles. Doesn't have to be perfect. Let's see. Just a bit. Alright, so that's good. I'll go ahead and rasterize layer. So we just have that shape. So shift control, oh, let's go ahead and bring this texture in here. Alright, just make sure it's placed over it. Hit enter. Alright, so it's here. Go ahead and rasterize that too. Then control to select this shape layer we've just created. And while selected, while still on this layer with the sprinkles here, just hit delete, or Control Shift I for inverse selection, then delete. Alright, so now you have the sprinkles on top. I'll just go ahead and flatten the image again and just save it out. Alright, so if you want a plain donut, you don't need this. If you do want that, you have it here. So it has updated inside of 3ds Max, and we now have the topping on the donut. Of course you could take time to make it look better, but you get the idea. You see we left our UV seams here, so let's go back and turn that off. Flatten the image again. Come on, update. Did not update. That's why not just save. Okay. Alright, yeah. So that does really look good. That's almost perfect for me. And what would really make this stand out maybe would be a noise map. Let's see. Create a new, not a noise map, but a normal map. But we'll need noise here, so filter, noise, add noise. Make sure it's monochromatic. If not, it's gonna have colors in it, so just monochromatic. And Gaussian, maybe uniform. It doesn't matter. Let's go with uniform. And then we'll add a ripple to this. Distort. Ripple, maybe, just to kind of blur it out a bit. Yeah. And then I have a plugin, XNormals. I just installed the XNormal app, and it had this plugin. So XNormals, height to normals, it takes the black and white information and just makes a normal map out of it. So I have that. I'll go ahead and blur this a bit. Just Gaussian blur. It's not too crazy. Then just save this out as donut. Donut NM normal map, and then where is it? Donut. It's a PSD file. It doesn't matter. Okay. I'll just select this again. Where is it? select this again, go to maps, turn on bump map, turn this into 100, none, normal map, normal bump, and drag in the map in here. Alright, so go to realistic materials with maps. Oh wow, that's horrible. That is horrible. Shaded. Alright, so it seems the normal map didn't work too good, so I'll just delete that. For some reason it didn't work too well. Okay, it worked, but it's just too much. Maybe about 20. Say 50. Yeah, so something like that. Looks okay. Alright, so that's good enough for me, and that's how you create a donut. Thanks for watching. Bye.